Okay, so we are kicking off our 2 days of live coverage here at the American Colleges Horizons Conference in sunny Orlando. And starting us off, someone who I've been wanting to get on goRIA for some time, Andy Panko, who is the founder of Tenon Financial. Andy, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Good time.
My pleasure. So for those of you that know Andy, and you probably do if you're on LinkedIn or the socials, he truly strikes fear into the hearts of those overselling, perhaps, IULs. And we're going to talk about that today. So IULs, those are just completely evil. No one should ever have them.
Far from it. 100% not the case. They are a product. They have a use case. They have pros. They have cons. They have circumstances where they are a good fit, circumstances where they're not. So the product itself, nothing inherently wrong with it. Just the way in which it's often marketed and sold, I take some issue with, and I think a lot of the industry should as well.
Yeah, and I do too. So we always like to start off with a little bit of humor here. And so it's not necessarily that the IUL is itself just a horrible product,
No.
but perhaps oversold and put into situations where maybe it doesn't belong.
That's my belief, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Mine
of...
too, by the way. I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. And it illustrates very well. There are a lot of very positive talking points to it, but I think those things are often spoken as half-truths, distorted sometimes outright falsified. Like one example was someone said it is a can't lose money asset. That's just not accurate. so,
Yikes.
Yeah. So things like that I take issue with, and I'm not shy. Sometimes I might go a little too far. I try to keep it professional, but I'm not shy about pointing things out on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. If I was, I'm sure I'd see a lot more there. But
Yes.
I try to sort of diplomatically and tactfully say, hey, that's not entirely accurate, or can you elaborate on what you mean by that, and just see where it goes from there. And I've gotten a rap as a result of that.
And a really good one, by the way. I mean, he's very well loved on the socials. Yes.
Right.
Well, if you ask the good guys, in my opinion, right? So, I love your content that you put out there, and I do love you take a very high road approach, and it's never, what are you doing, you crook. It's more like,
Right.
It's almost like Columbo. Let me understand. What is his famous line? Do you remember Columbo?
I was born in '78. I'm a little
Yeah.
young. I know who you're talking about. I've seen the show once or twice, but yeah, I did.
We'll try to put it into the notes somewhere in the comments. But if you're, more in the '68 as
Right.
the year I was born, you'll know Columbo. And he's always kind of like, let me ask you another question.
Okay.
But it's how you kind of do that, which is great. Which is, what exactly do you mean by some of the fairly outlandish things that some of these people are saying?
Yeah.
So let's cut to the chase. Why would you say that IULs are oversold and perhaps a Vanguard index fund is not?
It's a great question. I mean, the easiest, obvious answer, I try not to make this front and center too much, is the commission from selling insurance products.
Right.
And couple that with, it's a general account product, meaning you don't need securities licenses. Like if you were to sell a variable insurance product, variable annuity, variable universal life, you need securities licenses. When you have that, you're then under FINRA oversight and compliance, and FINRA is much more stringent with reining in what you're allowed to say or not say. The compliance officers around FINRA firms are much more on top of monitoring their people.
Yeah.
In the insurance space, insurance is regulated state by each state's respective insurance commissioner, or whatever they choose to call it. And it seems to be a complete Wild West, hands off, at least online, with what people are allowed to say, with seemingly zero checks and balances. And a lot of the independent agencies, which is where, in my anecdotal observation, a lot of the most egregious of the claims come from, people selling independently for IMOs, or so they're called. Mm-hmm. Compliance there seems to be almost completely hands off, because the agents are independent contractors, not employees per se. And it's sort of like there's only so much we can do. These are their own people doing their own thing. They happen to be selling under our label. But compliance is kind of like reactive, if anything, in those cases.
Yeah.
So put that all together, and it's an environment where people can, in effect, get away with saying almost anything they want with almost no checks and balances. And again, there are a lot of really good talking points and selling points to IUL. If you massage those in certain ways, this thing comes off like, wow, this is the best product ever.
Right.
Why doesn't everyone have multiple of these?
Yeah, and I think that is very true. And it's amazing that there's different levels of regulation, right? Because at the end of the day, and we talk about this a lot on goRIA, consumers still, in my opinion, cannot discern between a salesperson and an advisor. It's still really hard to do. And the fact that people are able to say, and I've seen some of your comments on some of these posts, what they're saying is absolutely outlandish. And to be able to do that, and still be able to do it again next week and the week after without any fear of consequences is just stunning to me, really.
And consumers have zero clue. Many in the industry don't understand the different channels or avenues of the industry, who's regulated by what can they sell, what can they service, whatever. Consumers have effectively no chance. And because there's no title regulation, now I'm not one for saying we need excessive regulation, but I do feel there are some cases where like there needs to be some more forced standardization on stuff, like title reform or lack of title restrictions. For the most part, anyone can call themselves anything online: wealth strategists, tax-exempt wealth specialists, all sorts of creative names that sound like, oh, this is what I need, retirement income specialist, what have you. It means nothing. Like anyone can get themselves those names. So it's a weird situation out there.
So just to wrap things up, and we keep these fairly short, but what's the answer? How do we solve this problem? How do we help these consumers?
Not to say I've given up. I don't know if there is one. I mean, it needs to be a coordinated effort. I think the carriers whose products are getting sold inappropriately need to take a large part of the responsibility.
Good luck there, but okay.
Exactly, right, good luck. And that's sort of my takeaway with all this, is like good luck with that actually happening. Standardizing regulation, ideally, now I'm sure there's lots of drawbacks to this, but if there's one sort of centralized, retail-focused financial services regulator that oversaw all this stuff to help coordinate, I think that would help. Now, again, I'm sure there's lots of drawbacks to that as well. The agencies, the independent agencies themselves, need to take more responsibility for their agents. Obviously, training across the board for everyone in the business needs to be better. Compensation, I mean, that's always going to be some element of it. When compensation comes purely from consummation of getting someone to buy a product, of course, there's inherent conflict there that drives you to want to do certain things or transact.
Of course, right.
And so not any one of these is going to really overhaul and completely clean up this wild west of sales and marketing for certain things, but I think each one could have different impacts. So I've taken it upon myself just to kind of like, I'm not going to move the needle in the big picture, but like if I can shed some light in front of some people at least, I feel like it's
I would say you are moving the needle because you're rallying other advisors, right? And I've seen other posts where someone is putting up something outlandish on IUL, and they just basically, it's like they summon you through a comment, they tag you, right? The bat light goes up, and whoosh, you sweep in, and you put some smack down, and rightly so. So let's leave it on this. In my opinion, I think the solution ultimately, title protection would be great. Don't hold your breath on that. What I think will continue to help is advisors like you, communities like this here at the American College, educating consumers. If the consumer is educated to look out for these things, they have a better chance. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that would make sense. That would definitely be a big step in the right direction.
All right, real good. Well, I think we're going to put a pin in it right there. Andy, thanks for joining me and kicking us off.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so this is segment 1 of 8. I've got 3 more coming today. I'll be back in another hour and a half with some more content. I will see you then.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was excellent.
Thank you.